What is up, my YouTube family? Jesse here with Jesse's World, and again, I am trying to, well, get together the basic necessities that most adult males have whenever they own a home and whenever they're taking care of a yard. Today, I made a purchase: a backpack blower. It's a Craftsman 46cc. It is used. I got it at the pawn shop, and that price tag says $130 on it. I did not pay $130 for it. I actually got it for $100. I looked up online while I was at the pawn shop to see what one of these brand new costs, and it was $242 for a brand new one. And I went up and I talked to the guy and I said, can you take that outside and show me that it works? I don't want to buy it if I don't know it works first. He said, well, we always make sure that everything works before we buy it, so I'm sure that it does. So we took it outside, and it's got a primer bubble for getting it ready for the fuel and everything. And he started priming it, and you're supposed to prime it 10 times before you try to start it. It actually starts up really easy, like one or two pulls and it's done. But anyway, he was priming it, and right here, I don't know how well it's going to be noticeable, but right, come on, focus. Maybe if I make it darker, here we go. All right, that left fuel line right there, right here at the base. You can't really see it, but there's the fuel line is cracked right there, and it started spitting fuel out as he was priming it. And so I was like, all right, clearly it does run, but I'm gonna have to replace that fuel line, so I'll give you $100 for it. He said, all right, sounds fair. So that is what I am going to do. I'm going to replace that fuel line. I hope. I've got this I've got this old blower here that when I bought it, it didn't, the spark plug wire was cut off, and I thought, oh, maybe I can just buy a coil and a wire, put a new coil in it, and it'll run. It didn't. It was only $25 at the pawn shop, same pawn shop I bought this blower from that does run. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cannibalize the fuel line out of the one that does not run and put it into the one that does run. And so therefore 25 and 100, so $125. Don't have to pay for a new fuel line because I can just take one off of the one that does work and it's not cracked, and we'll go from there. I'll see if it works, but yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna take it apart and see if I can't get it fixed. Okay, so I know the sunlight's making this a little bit more difficult, but this is where I'm at. I got the rubber grommet out, and that was not easy to do. I had to use this Allen wrench, put it on the edge of the tank, and pry up with it and push the grommet out through the bottom. But I got it out, and then here's the little filter on the end, and it actually looks like it's in really good condition. If I can get the camera to focus on it. It doesn't look clogged up or dirty or anything. It looks as though there is a small clear membrane running through the middle of the grommet that the wire or the hose connects up to on both sides, and that's what it actually goes to, but I don't have that. That's what apparently has disintegrated. This is where I'm at right now. This hose on the left is the one that came out of the new blower, and this one on the right is one that came, actually it came off of my grandfather's old weed whacker that I was trying to fix. I did get it running, but it crapped out later. So what I'm going to do is just feed this directly down through the rubber grommet and hope that it holds up for a little while. Maybe I don't know, maybe I need to buy this whole new assembly piece right here from like these two pieces and that, all together as one unit and put it in here. But either way, it's currently, this is going to have to work, and I'm sure it probably will work. So I'm going to get the green hose cleaned off because I got sawdust all over it, and I'm going to get it shoved through the grommet and put back up onto the return, because apparently this is the return, because that's the feed, and then this would be the return side. So we'll get it all buttoned up and put it back together and see what happens. Okay, so I've got the green hose through the grommet. It fit great and leaves very little gap in between there, and I've got it set up to go straight up to the exact height that the other one was, at least as of right now, before I get it plugged in. And I'll get it plugged in and get this the feed and the grommet put back through that hole. But unfortunately, before I do, look what's down in the tank. So the piece that was messed up had started to decay inside the tank, and it fell off down in there. So I'm gonna have to take the tank off and clean it out. And I want to clean it off anyway, because clearly it was leaking before the guy sold it, and he probably knew that it was leaking before he sold it. But anyway, I'll take the tank off and empty the fuel out of it, and get that those chunks out of there. And it looks like it's as simple as taking those two very rusted looking, I'm guessing Allen key, they look like Allen key bolts out of there, and the tank should come off. Then I can clean it up, put it all back together, and we'll see how it runs. Okay, so I got the two bolts out right here. Surprisingly, the more rusted one on the right came from the left side where the fuel was leaking down. I would have thought that it would have been less rusted, but it appears that I was right about those two bolts being all that was holding it on, because now it's off. So I'm gonna check these wires out right here real quick. They look like they're all right. They could be used, definitely be cleaned off good. And I'm gonna clean up the base right here and get all that gunk off there, empty out and clean out the fuel here, and then put some fresh stuff in. It says it's 50-to-1 ratio right there on the side, 50-to-1. So we'll put some 50-to-1 in there and see how she works. So I'll bring you back in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to attempt something here. I don't know if it'll work or not, but we'll find out when I get done. I've got this little I think it's a 1 gallon gas can. Well, it doesn't say on it. Anyway, it looks like a 1 gallon gas can, or maybe 3/4 of a gallon, whatever. But it was empty. I didn't have anything in it. It's completely bone dry inside. The nastiness you see inside there is actually on the bottom. The bottom is very dirty. So it's just showing through because it's, well, semi-transparent. But what I'm going to do is I've got this, it's actually a Tupperware sieve, I think, or I don't know, whatever. I can't find my funnel right now. I think it's in the trunk because I just changed my oil like 3 days ago, and I was running out of time, so I threw everything in the trunk. But I'm going to put the funnel over this, the paper towel over the top of the funnel, and pour the fuel from here through that and strain the parts out of the fuel so that I can reuse the fuel, because there's nothing wrong with the fuel. So we'll see how this works. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any way I can record this. Be right back. Alright guys, so the video is going to be kind of wavy because the phone stand that I'm using is not very stable. But let's see how much of a failure this is. You can see, right? I can't see what the phone sees. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's. Okay, so maybe put a little less paper towel hanging off because it seemed to go around the edge of the paper towel. But let's see what's in here. Oh, look at that. There it is, the chunks of rubber. There's the chunks of rubber. There's the big chunk of rubber in there. And obviously that stuff is not going to be able to come out of the paper towel and into the fuel. Here we go. Let's see. There's some smaller chunks in there, and there's the big chunk. It's all right there. And the only lost fuel is what got soaked up by the paper towel. Now I'm going to very carefully clean off the outside of the tank and try to make sure none of what's on the outside falls to the inside, because now the inside looks pretty clean. Let's see if we can get a good look in there. It looks pretty clean in there now. So there's some chunks right around the edge right there that I'm going to try to wipe off with. I've got some of those blue shop towels. I'm going to try to wipe that stuff out of there, and then hopefully the little filter will do the rest at making sure that none of that goes into the engine. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's wipe the stuff from the outside first. Trying to wipe everything away from the hole. Oh, there's a whole bunch of that stuff right inside there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Let's see if I can't knock that out of there. All right. Good portion of it came out. There's a couple of tiny little pieces in there. That should be good. That's probably not any more than the amount of dirt that falls in there over a couple of years. But that's what that little white filter's for, right? There we go. It's pretty good, I think. Okay, so sorry about the wobble. Again, phone stand not real steady. See what's going on here. All right, so I'm gonna get this cleaned up now. I got some heavy duty engine degreaser here. Look at all that. Yeah. She's definitely a filthy girl. The previous owner took good enough care of it, it looks like, that it's not, this isn't being a big job because of it. So we'll go ahead and get the tank mounted back up here. Put a tiny dab of grease on here. Hopefully it'll help to keep it from getting seized up like it was the last time. Bunch of stuff came up out of the hole. I'm gonna wipe that stuff off. I'm gonna hit the bolt with the wire brush real quick. Put a dab more grease on there, just a tiny little bit. First one started. Pull one up just a little bit. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but I gotta pull it out. I should have cleaned those holes out first. More nastiness came out with the grease. So the bit is a 3/16 Allen bit. I just have it in a little bit driver. It was actually in there pretty tight. Probably because they want to make sure that it doesn't fall off. Now we'll see how much of a pain this part is going to be to put back in. Let's put this back on here. Oh yeah, like a glove. Filter back in. Shove it off to the side here. And it looks like it's rotated the wrong way. Just need something long so I can push it back the other way. There we go. All right, it flipped and went back the other way. Now, for the hard parts. Feeding this grommet back down in here. Well, maybe not the hard part. Okay, so it was off to the side like this. Just put a really thin layer of grease on here to see if maybe that helps. I'm sure they probably got some kind of nifty machine that compresses all the sides at the same time and pushes it in there from the factory, but I don't have that. And I don't want to use any tools to try to push it back in because I don't want to stab a hole through this grommet. I almost got it. Bam. Got a folded over edge here. Bam. All right. Rotate that back around. Pull up on this just a little bit. There we go. Give it a little bit of slack because it was really tight. And based on my observations of the original fuel line that was in there, it is roughly in the same place that it was before as far as how far into the tank the return goes. Being stuffed inside the tank put a lot more restriction on this hose. It does not come in and out. I had to pull pretty hard to get it to slide back up. Hi you guys, so like I said, whenever I bought it, the back side right there where I replaced that line at, whenever you would prime it, it would shoot fuel in a stream out this way off of it. So let's put it on choke and prime it, and look at that, no more fuel shooting. Now, watch how easy this starts up. That wasn't even a full pool, it was like a half pool. Kill button on the top works just fine, and it's actually got a trigger lock where you could just lock the trigger in place where it is. So I like it. Seems to work okay. I think once I get some more fuel in it, it'll probably work a little bit better. And hopefully you can see that. There's the trigger, or the kill switch, and then the throttle lock. It actually pulls the throttle in if you watch it. So that's it, guys. That's it for this episode of Jesse's World. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. $100 plus a cheap little fuel line. Oh, and I didn't even have to take apart the other one. Maybe I can get it working eventually, but I didn't even have to take the other one apart because I had that little chunk of green fuel line laying on my workbench up here, my dirty workbench. And so whenever I was trying to clean up and straighten up and move things around, I found it laying up here, and I was able to just use it instead. But that's it. Craftsman 46cc backpack blower, functioning for $100. Well, plus the fuel line, of course, which was free to me because I already had it. So again, if you like this kind of content, if you like watching me fix stuff, work on stuff, try to find good deals, I know I'm going to try to get to a part 2 of my video on the deal or no deal. That I got to get a good deal on my Onkyo stereo soon. I've had it for a little over 3 months now. It's working great. The HDMI pass-through works good. When I use a NVIDIA Shield, I think it's a 2017 model, but I use it for my media streaming device, and HDMI from it straight into the stereo and then back to the TV, and when the Shield turns off, the stereo turns off, and vice versa. So works great, sounds good. I'll have to, like I said, get to the part 2 of, all of the features that I found that it has. I never did buy a remote for it because the NVIDIA Shield remote actually controls the volume on the stereo. The speakers on the TV aren't even being used right now. Um, that's the only thing I really need the remote for, because that's what I use it for most of the time, watching movies and TV shows and all that kind of stuff. So again, if you like this content, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.